Hey guys, and welcome back. Just gonna do a quick video today and talking about the negative side of collecting figures or collecting in general. In my case, it's gonna be action figures, mostly 1/6 and quarter scale. Again, I also have some vehicles. So I have different topics. Today, this is gonna be in two parts. So this is gonna be the negative side, and I'm also gonna do a positive side on collecting. So the first thing here is lack of space. So obviously, if you have a lot of figures on pre-order, one big concerns among collectors is, okay, I have let's say 20 pre-orders, and once they come in, how am I gonna expose them? Do I have space? This is a big issue currently with a lot of people. A lot of people are canceling their pre-orders because either they don't have space or they don't have the enough room in the collection to actually properly set the figures. So for me, for instance, last year I purchased these two garage shelves so I can maximize my space and keep an eye on what's out there, on what figures is collecting. I know the Mark III DeLorean is gonna come out soon. My retailer is gonna contact me, so I know I have room there, and I might have to put the Jurassic Park figures away, to make room for other vehicles or uh, other figures on pre-order. So the other thing is money and budget. So I personally have a budget on what can I spend every month on figures. Obviously, I have to pay rent, I have to pay, different things, different bills, food and whatnot. So I set a budget of, okay, what can I spend every month on figures, which sometimes is more, sometimes it's less. Things happen in life, so you have to make sure that the funds are available and that you don't get into trouble, which is my next point, is debt and financials. So I've seen a lot of videos on people buying expensive figures, collectibles, and I've heard this a lot of times when people say, "Well, I spent X amount of money, sorry, on this particular figure, and now I can only eat ramen noodles for the rest of the month," which is very sad. I mean, the fact that you spend pretty much all of your budget on one figure and then you cannot even eat for the rest of the month. I mean, some people are, crazy like that. So it's very hard to see and hear collectors having that issue. It's very common. I hear about that on a daily basis. So just keep that in mind, not to go too crazy. The other thing is stress and anxiety, again, with different pre-orders and figures coming out. There's a lot of stress. I know it happened to me sometimes throughout the years where I cannot sleep at night because I'm thinking, okay, where should I put this figure? Where do I have to sell stuff in order to buy stuff? Do I have to move figures around? So it does happen. I know it's stupid to have anxieties for action figures. It's pretty much plastic, and there are worse things out there to worry about. But it's something that happens. So let's see, I've made a list here. So yeah, too much stuff on pre-order. The problem with pre-orders nowadays, let's say for example on Sideshow, you can put a 10% pre-order depending on how much the figure is. So let's say you have an average $300 for Hot Toys figures. Well, that's a $30 pre-order, and that can easily stack up. So the issue, what I've seen, it happens to me a lot last year. It happens to a lot of collectors. Is once you pre-order a figure and the figure comes out, you have an email by Sideshow saying, "Okay, we're gonna charge you in a few days, a few weeks." A lot of people cancel the pre-orders. And like I said, the example, the $30 may not seem like a lot of money. The problem is if you're canceling 20, pre-orders, that $30 is gonna stack up. And that was just a small example. Imagine if you're pre-ordering a Prime 1 statue and it's $3,000. Now you're gonna lose $300 if you're pre-ordering that. So that can always and will always be a big headache amongst collectors. So the next point is selling to make room. This is a big one that happened to me up until next year. I kept rotating figures around and kept selling figures that I only have for a couple of months to basically make room for new ones. Hence, this is why I bought the garage shelves, so I can keep my figures, because I was very upset in the last 5 years. I just got a figure, I regret selling it just to make room for another figure that I don't really want. Which is my next point, is impulse buys and regrets. This happens a lot. Buying a figure that you don't really want and selling it later. Again, you're gonna lose money, which is another thing. A lot of people buy, collectibles on thinking, oh, I'm gonna make a profit. Unfortunately, that's not the case, especially with statues. I see it on Facebook groups all day long. People losing just hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on statues. These companies, they don't produce limited quantities of figures and statues like they used to. I know in the statue community there's a big shift. Like Prime 1 is making more limited stuff than before, which is pretty much, in the hundreds. So let's say Hot Toys is, let's take the Mark 50 from Infinity War, the Iron Man Mark 50. From what I've heard, they've made 20,000 of that figure, meaning there's no way that you're gonna able to flip that figure and make a profit. So if you paid, I don't remember exactly the retail on that, was I think was 400 or 420. I always see those figures, for about $200. So if you had the intent of flipping that figure, in the future, that's not a good idea, especially if you pre-order day one through Sideshow. Again, in my case, if I would, that's 400 US dollars. I convert that into Canadian, which is what, 30 to 40% more. Add tax on top of that, import fees and shipping, I would have lost easily $300 to $400. So this is another thing that I usually do right now, is I really ask myself, do I really need the figure? Is it just a impulse buy? So I make sure to, not to waste money on what I don't want. So currently, as you can see, I am into horror figures, some superheroes, DC, Marvel, again 1/6 scale vehicles, and that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna go into crazy lines and regret buying them and selling them later and obviously losing money. So let's see here. Another point is the toxicity amongst collectors. I've seen these topics every day on social media like Facebook and whatnot. There's a lot of bitching and backstabbing amongst collectors, which is very sad. Considering the hobby is supposed to be a positive thing, I've seen a lot of collectors. Let's say I'm gonna take the Batmobile here for example. A lot of Jazz Inc. fans and Hot Toys fans, go pretty much head in head against the two companies, like which is better. Obviously, the Jazz Inc. one is more accurate, but now you're having people that pretty much say if you spend $1,500 on a Jazz Inc. one, you're going to get ripped because it's too much money. It's not worth it, even though the Jazz Inc. it's an accurate representation. is it worth it to spend pretty much double of what the Hot Toys uh, Batmobile was? So again, that creates toxicity. If you comment, let's say on the Jazzing page, Facebook page, about these issues, most likely you're gonna get blocked and you're gonna get, mocked by the collectors on the Jazzing side, which is very sad. I mean, we're talking about plastic at the end of the day, and seeing how there's so much trolls out there. I mean, you have to have a lot of free time on your hands just to bitch about collecting in general. Sometimes there are valid points, like again the price point between this and the Jazzing. But I mean, I personally, I never did that. Just starting arguments with people on Facebook about which collectible is worth getting and not the other way around. Uh, so that's about that. Let's see here. Yeah, that pretty much covers most of uh, the negative side of collecting. Again, some people may say in general that collecting is a waste of money. Uh, Again, I'm gonna talk about that in the positive side, because for me, growing up loving, all these different movies, science fiction, horror, collecting for me brings something positive in my life. Every time I come in the room, it brings me joy. So again, that's gonna be the part two of this on a positive side of collecting. Oh, and something else that I just remember. You should not collect on what other people tell you to collect. You should only collect for yourself and like lines that you like. So again, for me on my side, it's a lot of horror figures. Again, once for 1/6 scale, Trick or Treat, Sideshow, Hot Toys. I have a lot of NECA figures. So I know because I've been collecting for a very long time. I know what I like and I don't like. So that's very important to know what you want to collect, because again, you can burn hundreds of dollars every month on buying these and end up selling them for nothing, either on eBay or on Facebook groups. I personally, when I sell something or buy something, I prefer to buy them on Facebook groups, just because I save a lot on import fees. I can negotiate with people, and if there's a problem, I'm always backed up by PayPal, which is important. Obviously, as a Canadian collector, if I buy from Sideshow every time, like for instance, most of these quarter scale figures from Sideshow are close to $1,000 Canadian. So imagine on top of that paying another $60-$70 on shipping. Import fees is gonna be 15% of the value of the figure plus an extra fee, depending if it's FedEx or DHL. So the bill goes really high. So most of these I was able to get on Facebook, on the Facebook groups. And again, I was able to save, like, I think Boba Fett right there, I got him for $400 shipped, which is insane. That's about 600 Canadian dollars, give or take, with no import fees, nothing. So, buying these secondhand, or I think this one was brand new. Yeah, Boba Fett was brand new. Uh, Buying these brand new on even secondhand, it's not the bad option. Again, just make sure that the seller is reliable, the figure is complete, no missing parts or whatever. So again, buying these on Facebook, saves me a lot of money. Again, some figures I do buy from a retail, like the Batman here, the Mark 42. I bought from a local retail because he gave me a great deal. So I always come back to him again. Same thing for the Batmobiles. He was able to provide those to me for a good deal. Same with the Mark IV. So when it comes to that, saving money is a huge hit, a win, should I say, when collecting. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments, do you have regrets on collecting? What pieces did you bought and regret buying or selling? Did you had any impulse buys? Do you have regrets? What do you like and not like about collecting? Let me know in the comments below. I like to know your opinions. As usual, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and follow me on TikTok for more content. So yeah, guys, see you soon and have a great day.